Have you ever had that feeling, you're smart, your idea is brilliant, your product could change things, but when you actually talk about it, the message just doesn't quite land?
Yeah, it's like you're speaking, but maybe no one's really hearing you.
Exactly. And that disconnect, it can be incredibly frustrating. So today, we're going to unpack that. We're going to figure out why it happens and maybe more importantly, how you can fix it. We're doing a deep dive into Stefan Avivson's book, How You Speak to Customers. Avivson, sometimes known as Mr. Raw, he makes this really powerful point. Most of us don't really know how to speak in a way that actually moves another person.
Right. We know how to talk, maybe how to present, or even sell in the old sense. But connect, truly connect, that's different. And that's really the mission here for you in this deep dive. We want to explore how you shift from just, performing a pitch or throwing information out there to genuinely connecting with someone,
Yeah.
building that trust. And yeah, ultimately driving some kind of action. And look, this isn't just about sales in the traditional sense. It applies to any conversation where you're trying to get an idea across, share a belief, maybe paint a picture of the future.
Because, like the book says, everyone's a customer and every word sells. It's about impact.
Every single interaction, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to uncover some, let's say, counterintuitive truths, things that might just reshape how you approach, well, pretty much every conversation. You'll find out how to grab attention in just seconds, literally seconds, how to listen in a way that actually gives you an edge,
The real advantage, yeah.
and how to understand what people really want, which isn't always what they first say they want.
That's a big one.
This whole deep dive is packed with practical, raw insights, stuff you can actually use to transform how you communicate, whether you're pitching an investor, leading your team, or just trying to make your point stick. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start with the first big idea, the first reframe, that common wisdom, opening with your pitch. It's basically flawed.
Fundamentally, yeah, most people just lose the room right away.
Think about it. Nobody, not a buyer, not an investor, not even your own team, sometimes cares about your amazing product right out of the gate.
Their heads are full, schedules are jammed, they're probably skeptical by default.
You've got this tiny window, maybe 3 seconds, to get their attention. Maybe 7 tops to make them actually lean in and want to hear more.
And after that,
Yeah.
you're just noise. Another voice in the crowd.
Which is why Avivson kicks off with this really critical principle, raw law 1, engage fast or disappear. Simple as that. Every word you use either buys you a little more time.
Or it burns it, wastes it.
Right.
And what's really interesting is the psychology behind this. There's something called the primacy effect.
Ah, okay. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, our brains are wired to remember the first thing we hear much better than what comes later. So if that first impression, those first words, are boring or generic or all about you.
Our brain just kind of predicts more boredom is coming.
Exactly. And we tune out. There's even research, I think, from Princeton showing people form trust impressions just from seeing a face in under 100 milliseconds, a fraction of a second.
Wow. So if visuals are judged that fast.
Imagine words.
Yeah.
Your opening needs to be sharp. And look, a good hook isn't some kind of a sneaky trick.
Yeah.
It's actually about respect.
Respect. How so?
It signals, hey, I see your world. I know you're busy. I value your time. And I'm not here to waste it.
That's a great way to put it. Respect, not manipulation. We've all been on the receiving end of those bad openers, right?
Oh, yeah. The classic.
Hi, I'm Mia from XTech. We help agile teams with AI dashboards. It's just information dump. Puts all the work on them to figure out why they should care.
Right. It's passive.
But compare that to something sharper, more empathetic. Like, your team probably spends 40 hours a month building reports that don't even tell you what to do next. What if we killed that this week?
Instant empathy, a bit of tension, curiosity, makes you think, how?
Or here's another one. Apparently, this one actually closed deals in 3 countries, which is pretty cool. You probably get 20 of these calls a week. I'll make this one worth your next 15 seconds.
That's bold. I like it. It works because it's just brutally honest. It disarms you with that realism. It stands out immediately.
Yeah.
And think about the neuroscience again. These hooks work because they hit emotion first. There's a neuroscientist, Antonio Damasio. His work showed people literally can't make good decisions without emotion.
So we decide with feeling, then find the logic later.
Pretty much. We make the emotional leap, then build the logical bridge to justify it. So effective hooks. They need to spark some curiosity, maybe relief, surprise, before the analytical brain kicks in.
Okay, so how do we actually build these things? Mr. Raw gives us a practical tool. Let's call it the hook builder. He has a couple of formulas.
Yeah, pretty straightforward ones.
Formula 1. You're probably experiencing this specific pain or reality they already know, and you're still not getting the desired outcome they want. What if we change that this week? Super direct, all about their world.
Focused on them. Yeah.
Or try this one. Most people like them are still doing this old, maybe inefficient habit. The smart ones are starting to do this new, intriguing insight. Want to know why?
Again, creates that little bit of intrigue, that fear of missing out, maybe.
And these aren't like long-winded setups. You lead with the punch. There's this great story in the book, right, about cold calling a senior retail lead at Apple Sweden.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Classic.
The speaker didn't launch into a pitch. He just said something like, I know this is a weird question, but have you ever actually been in an Apple store?
Mm-hmm. Which, of course, the Apple guy had.
Right. The lead laughed, said, of course. And the speaker followed up with, exactly, because you don't really get that same experience here in Scandinavia, and I think we can fix that. Want to hear how?
Boom. Straight to a meeting, and eventually a deal. It just sliced through the noise. Why?
Because it was personal. It was about him, his world, his company's experience, not the seller pushing their own agenda.
That personalization is absolutely key. It wasn't generic. It tapped into something real and specific to that person, that role, that company. It bypassed all the usual defenses.
Okay, so for you listening right now, here's something practical. Take those hook builder formulas. Try writing maybe 3 different openers for whatever it is you do or offer.
Group exercise.
Then grab a friend, someone you trust, and just say, hey, can I read you 2 lines? Tell me which one makes you actually want to hear more. Read them your new hook and maybe your old default opening.
And be ready for honest feedback.
Yeah. If your friend just kind of shrugs or doesn't ask a question back about the new hook, you probably need to sharpen it a bit more. That's how you build the muscle. Practice and feedback. Okay, so we've hooked them. Grab their attention. What's next? This is where the real work starts, maybe, the connection. And it begins not with more talking from you, but with listening. Deep listening.
Ah, the forgotten superpower.
Yeah.
It's where you gain serious leverage.
Because most people, let's be honest, they don't really listen. They're just waiting politely for their turn to talk.
Reloading their own points.
Exactly. But the real power, Avivson argues, comes from accurately reflecting back what they said, showing you truly grasped their internal logic, their perspective.
Which leads to raw law, too. If you listen like no one else, you sell like no one else.
It sounds simple, but it's rare.
It is rare. And the science here is fascinating, too. When people feel genuinely understood, like truly gotten, their brain releases oxytocin.
It's a bonding hormone, right?
Exactly. Paul Zach's work on neuroeconomics showed this clearly. Those oxytocin spikes correlate directly with feeling empathy and trust. It's biological. Plus, a Harvard study, I think Juliana Schroeder led it, found that when people ask clarifying questions, which shows listening, their conversation partner rated them as more trustworthy, built better rapport, and even perceived them as smarter.
Wow, smarter just for asking good questions.
Yeah. And there was another big study, a meta-analysis in 2020, showed that accurately reflecting back someone's core message increased persuasion by like 38%, especially when the stakes were high.
38%, that's huge.
It really is. So this isn't some soft skill. It's science. People need to feel seen, feel heard before they're really open to saying yes.
Okay, so the why is clear. Feeling seen builds trust, opens doors. How do we actually do it? What are the practical ways Mr. Ross suggests for this deep listening?
He talks about a really powerful technique called the echo with compression.
Echo with compression. Okay, break that down.
The idea is simple, but effective. You take what they said, which might be a bit rambling or unclear, and you echo it back to them, but tighter, sharper, clearer, more impactful.
So you sort of distill their thought.
Exactly. For example, a customer might say, well, we've got all this data, it's everywhere, different tools, every team has its own little system. It's just a mess.
Okay, yeah, sounds familiar.
Instead of just nodding, you could echo back with compression. So it sounds like your teams are misaligned, and critical data is trapped in silos, and that's costing you clarity and speed.
Ah, I see. Shorter, more focused.
Right. And then you watch their reaction. If they nod emphatically, great, you're aligned. You've shown you get it. If they slightly correct you, say, well, mostly, but it's more about X.
Yeah.
Even better. You just learned something deeper. It's a win either way.
There's a great story in the book about this, too. A CEO, sounds like he was really fed up with vendors.
Yeah, started the call pretty defensively.
Right. Said something like, look, I'm tired of pitches. Just tell me what you do. And the seller, instead of jumping in, said something like,
Fair enough. But before I do that, could I just hear what you're actually hoping gets fixed here? Otherwise, I'm just guessing what matters to you.
Nice move. Disarming.
Totally. The CEO apparently paused, then just talked for 5 solid minutes. The seller just listened, didn't interrupt.
And then?
Then the seller echoed back. Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is, you're trying to grow, but every month feels reactive, not strategic. Your team's good, they're capable, but they're not aligned. You really want a calm, repeatable system that made sense for your scale. Is that about right?
And the CEO's reaction.
Immediate. That's exactly it. Led to a big long-term deal. Why? Because the sellers stopped trying to sell and focused on becoming the one person who truly got the CEO's problem.
That's powerful. So for you listening, think about how this applies, this kind of listening. It gives you information, sure, but also a degree of control and basically hands you a map of their internal world.
A roadmap to relevance.
Exactly. So here's an exercise. Your next 3 important calls or meetings. For the first 2 minutes, make a conscious effort not to interrupt. Just listen. Maybe jot down key phrases they use in their words.
Their actual language, yeah.
Then, around minute 3, try saying something like, okay, let me just play that back for a second, make sure I've really understood. And then use that echo with compression, reflect their message back, but tighter, clearer.
And watch their body language, their tone.
Yeah. Notice how it shifts. That's the moment you often stop being just another vendor or another voice and start becoming that trusted advisor, the one who gets it. Okay, so we've covered grabbing attention with a hook and then really listening to understand. Now, how do we effectively use that understanding?
Right. This is where it really comes together.
It means we need to stop just selling features, pushing what our thing does, and start focusing on the deeper purpose behind why they might need it.
You don't win by describing the drill bits. You win by understanding why they need the whole.
Good analogy. You win by seeing what the customer actually needs, the underlying job they're trying to get done, sometimes even before they can fully articulate it themselves.
That's the sweet spot.
And this brings us to Raw Law 3. Don't sell the pen. Discover the purpose.
The classic sell me this pen challenge
Yeah.
from, movies like Wolf of Wall Street. Most people instinctively start describing the pen. It's a great pen, smooth ink, nice grip.
Or they try to create fake urgency. This is the last pen.
Right. And it almost always falls flat. Because the real power move isn't describing the object. It's asking the simple question, why do you need to write right now?
Shifting from the what to the why.
Exactly. Suddenly, it's not about the pen itself. It's about the meaning behind the writing. Are they signing a huge deal? Leaving a note for someone they care about? Finishing a will? The context, the purpose is everything.
That really changes the dynamic.
It absolutely does. And this lines up perfectly with Clayton Christensen's jobs to be done theory. People don't buy products, they hire them to do a specific job in their life.
Like hiring a milkshake to make a boring commute more interesting.
Exactly. And studies, like one from Bain & Company, show that companies that align their message with those deeper emotional, outcome-driven needs, they have like 2 to 3 times higher close rates.
2 to 3 times. Okay, that's significant. I remember a story from the book that really hit this home. The speaker was working on a big, $200,000 software deal with a logistics company.
Okay.
Initially, the company said they wanted workflow efficiency. Pretty standard request. So the speaker showed them all the logical stuff, speed, automation, dashboards.
Ticking the boxes.
Right. The client nodded politely, but no real spark. It was only when the speaker asked, okay, let's say we deliver all this efficiency, what actually changes for you personally?
The deeper question.
That's when the CFO leaned in, his whole energy shifted, and he said, it means I can finally sleep through the night without worrying that a data error is going to cripple us.
Wow, that's the real job to be done.
Totally. The speaker realized in that moment, I'm not selling workflow software, I'm selling peace of mind. They signed the deal like a week later, because he finally connected to the real emotional driver.
That's a perfect example of what the book calls the ask the layer below tactic. Think of it like a questioning ladder. It mirrors how we often make decisions.
Okay, tell me about the rungs on this ladder.
So you start at the surface level. That's the what are you looking for question. You get the symptoms, the obvious problems they state.
Like workflow efficiency.
Exactly. Then you go down a level to the functional level. Okay, if you had that, what would it allow you to do? This gets at the practical utility, the benefits.
We could process invoices faster?
Right. But the real gold, where the urgency and the deep connection happen, is at the emotional level. That's the question. And what would that really change for you personally?
I could sleep at night.
Bingo. That's the payoff, the relief, the aspiration. That's where decisions often get made. But people rarely just offer up those deep emotional reasons. You have to earn your way there.
By showing you understand, by asking those layered questions.
Precisely. And you listen for those little phrases that signal the emotional core, so I can finally stop worrying about.
Yeah.
Or so I can prove to my team that.
Yep.
Or even just so I feel like I'm actually doing my job well.
Okay, so for you listening, here's how to apply this. Try the deconstruct your pen exercise for your own product or service.
Good one.
First, what's your standard default pitch? Be honest. Second, what's the actual job someone is hiring your product or service to do for them? Think Christensen.
What progress are they trying to make?
Yeah. And third, what does achieving that job really solve for them? Emotionally,
Yeah.
financially, socially. Then, take it one step further. Script 3 open-ended questions designed to gently uncover those deeper layers in your next conversation.
Stop selling the pen features. Start asking why they need to write.
Exactly. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about hooking, listening, understanding purpose. Now let's touch on something maybe more subtle, but incredibly powerful. Trust.
Oh, the foundation of everything, really.
Right. And the book argues trust isn't built in one big, grand gesture. It's built or broken in hundreds of tiny little micro moments.
Yeah, it's the pause you take.
Yeah.
The tone of your voice, how quickly or thoughtfully you follow up, even the timing of your silence.
People just feel it, don't they? Or they don't. And once trust is damaged, it's so hard to get back.
Almost impossible sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is why Raw Law 6 is so crucial.
Yeah.
Trust lives in the small stuff.
The small stuff.
And the science behind how we pick up on these subtle signals is really amazing. Malcolm Gladwell talked about this a lot in Blank, called it thin slicing.
Right. Our ability to make quick judgments from minimal information.
Exactly. There was a study at UPenn where students can predict how effective a teacher would be just by watching 10 seconds of silent video footage.
Silent video.
Wow. And another one from Princeton showing we make judgments about competence and trustworthiness from just looking at a photo in less than a second.
But these impressions form instantly, subconsciously.
Pretty much. And bringing it back to conversation dynamics, look at data from platforms like Gong.io. They found top-performing sales reps pause 4 times more often than low performers during calls.
4 times more. Why?
Because pausing signals thoughtfulness, confidence, control. Rushing often signals insecurity, nervousness, maybe even desperation. These aren't just trivial details. They're deep psychological cues we all pick up on.
That makes so much sense. It reminds me of another story from the book. High-stakes call, potential huge client. They ask the question, so what would you do first if we hired you?
The million-dollar question.
Right. And instead of launching into a pre-canned answer, the speaker just paused, took a breath, and then said something like, honestly, I'd start by listening. I can't give you an answer that actually respects your business until I've really heard how you work.
Gutsy move, but smart.
Totally. The client's reaction was apparently immediate. You're the first person who didn't just rush to throw solutions at me. They signed 2 weeks later. That pause, that response, it was a micro moment that shifted everything. It showed respect and deliberation.
That's it exactly. And it highlights those common micro moments that really count. The book lists a few key ones. Those first 7 seconds, your eye contact, even virtual, your calm tone, just seeming grounded.
Your presence.
Yeah. How you handle your first interruption. Did you cut them off mid-thought, or did you steer gently? How you react to disagreement, panic, or calm authority.
How about follow-up?
Crucial. Was your follow-up instant and felt robotic? Or did it feel thoughtful, personal, referencing something specific they said? Even how you exit the conversation matters. Did you thank them properly? Briefly recap what was important to them.
These aren't things you track on a spreadsheet.
No, they're memories. They're the small, vivid impressions people carry away about you, and they add up to shape that feeling of trust.
So how do we get better at managing these? How do we cultivate these positive micro moments intentionally?
Mr. Raw suggests something called the micro mirror method. It's about conscious intention.
Okay, micro mirror. How does it work?
Before you go into any conversation, ask yourself 2 things. What signal am I sending just by how I enter this interaction? And what's the very first emotional tone I want to establish?
Setting the stage intentionally.
Exactly. Then, during the conversation, consciously try to mirror the energy you want to create. If you want them to feel calm, speak with more pauses, more space. If you want to build rapport, make sure you acknowledge their points before adding yours.
like reflecting back the desired state.
Yeah. And then, maybe most importantly, after the conversation, ask yourself, what micro moment did I actually leave behind? What's the lingering feeling? That's your real feedback loop.
That self-reflection piece is key.
Absolutely. So for you, our listener, don't underestimate the massive impact of these seemingly small things. Try this exercise. On your next few important calls, do a quick trust audit afterwards.
Okay, what's on the audit checklist?
Just mentally check. Was
Yeah.
I really present and focused in that first minute? Did I interrupt unnecessarily? Did I ask questions that showed I was really listening, not just waiting? Did I consciously slow down the pace when things got complex or emotional? And how did we end it? Did they seem more open or more closed off than when we started?
It really brings to mind that Maya Angelou quote, doesn't it?
Oh, the classic. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did.
But people will never forget how you made them feel. These micro moments, that's where that feeling is created. They're the building blocks.
So, wrapping things up for today, we've really gone deep into shifting how we communicate, moving away from just making noise towards making a real impact.
Yeah, we talked about hooking attention right away, truly listening to understand the world beneath the words.
Uncovering that deeper purpose, the why behind the what.
And finally, building that essential foundation of trust through all those subtle, powerful micro moments.
And it's not just theory,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is about actually reshaping how we approach every single interaction. Exactly. And it comes back to Stefan Avivson's core idea. This isn't about learning tricks or becoming manipulative. It's not about overthinking every single word.
What is it about then?
It's about powerful communication that's rooted in, well, truth, in genuine connection. It's about speaking like a human being who actually understands how other human beings listen, decide, and connect.
Being present, being authentic.
That's the heart of it.
Okay, so to leave you with one final thought to chew on, this builds on Raw Law 15. Real persuasion is what survives the room.
I like that one.
Think about it. Your perfectly polished pitch. It rarely wins the deal on its own. What really closes deals, often, is the story they tell about you after you've left the metaphorical room.
What they say to their boss or their team when you're not there.
Exactly. Will they remember a feeling you left them with? A really clear insight you provided? A compelling little story or analogy they can easily repeat? If your message can't survive that internal retelling, that chain of communication.
The deal just quietly fades away, dies on the vine.
Right. So make your message, make your interaction, make you retellable. So here's the challenge for you. In your very next conversation, maybe even later today, try just one of these raw truths we talked about.
Just one small change.
Yeah, maybe pause more deliberately, maybe ask one layer deeper, maybe just focus entirely on listening for the first 2 minutes. See what happens, reflect on it.
Listen. And speak like someone who's genuinely there to help, someone who actually cares.
You might just be surprised at the difference it makes.